Hey everybody, this is Andrew from TS for Tech, and today I'm taking a look at this Reolink wireless camera, and this is the Reolink Argus 2. It's wireless and wireless. You don't necessarily need to use this plugged in to a power supply. It is a battery operated camera that has a solar panel as well. So this would be good for scenarios around your house where you want to put a wireless camera for security or monitoring purposes, but you don't really want to have one that has to be plugged in all the time, right? So you can use the battery, and you don't want to have to continually take the battery out or charge the device, right? So charge the camera separately. You can basically just hook it up to this solar panel, and it should keep the battery charged if you have enough sun. I'm kind of excited to take a look at this. It's the first camera that I've tested on the channel that has a solar panel as part of it. I've tested a lot of other Wi-Fi cameras. Most of them require them to be plugged in. And then I also recently tested one from a company called Litmore, which was their battery cam, which would require you basically every however many months, charge the battery, take the camera down, plug it in, charge it up, that sort of thing. So very similar to the Amazon Blink devices, where you'll just kind of occasionally need to charge them, whatever. So this hopefully will get of that need by having the solar panel. And yeah, super excited to take a look at this and do some testing. So right now I'm going to do an unboxing, kind of see what you get in the box. And then as I do some testing, I'm going to set this up outside with the solar panel and just kind of see how that works. So that should be cool. So be prepared to Reolink. So get your quick start guide here for the Argus 2. And a sticker, 24-hour surveillance. A couple mounting templates for drilling holes if you're going to mount the base of the solar panel, I think. And then this would be the base for the camera itself. So quick start guide kind of goes through how to set this up. Basically what you get in the box, you get the camera obviously, you get a rechargeable battery, security mount for outdoors, or a wall mount if you're going to do it, well, I guess probably either outdoors or inside. There's a skin cover for it, so kind of adds for waterproofing protection. A couple other things, templates, screws, power cable, and the like. So this does use a micro SD card slot and has a built-in microphone and a speaker, right? So it supports two-way audio if you're in a scenario where you need to talk to somebody on the other end. Yeah, obviously there's an app, the Reolink app you can install, connect the camera up, monitor your devices. So I will go over all of that stuff in the future. I will do a demo of the software and all of that as well as we go through this review or this unboxing and first look. Yeah, and basically, there's a lot of stuff. So this is one of the mounts for the camera. So this is kind of like a multiple 360, you can turn it all around and lock it in place. So that's kind of nice, kind of adjustable bracket. I guess this is also a mounting strap. So I guess if you want to mount it on something that's not screw it in, you can use this strap to mount it. Just kind of interesting. Maybe I'll use that temporarily. It has a micro USB power cable or charging cable. A bunch of different types of screw mounts, and it looks like a SIM type card, but it's for resetting the device. See right there. So a bunch of mounting screws. Some sort of little lanyard type clip. This is the silicone skin that you can put over it. Helps with the outdoor waterproof ability of the camera, protection. Here is the battery. So this is the battery. It's a pretty chunky battery. This is a 5200 milliamp hour battery. So rechargeable lithium ion battery, which is actually pretty nice construction. There's a little silicone protector here, so if you want to charge the battery directly, you can charge the battery with the micro USB. And here is the camera itself. Pretty sturdy. Yeah, so this is the base that's magnetized. So if you put this on, basically you can pop the camera on there and adjust it around on a kind of like a magnet, which is kind of cool. So otherwise you can screw it into the other mount that I showed a little bit earlier, but this is nice. You can see here where the battery slides in and locks, and then along the side you have all the micro SD, you have the reset, you have, no, I guess that's just a hole for this little silicone cover. Save that. On that side you have, I'm assuming this is the speaker here, and sensors, microphone, lens, and all of that. So it's pretty compact from a camera standpoint. I mean, it's not huge. And then when you have it kind of here, it's a nice looking device. So continuing to look into the box here. So this is the rest of it. So if you take a look at this, basically USB output. So there's a micro USB connector on the end of the solar panel. Pretty lengthy cable it looks like. A hole mount for the stand. And the stand here you can mount to whatever you want. So here you have some wall anchors and it screws again for this mount. And this one is metal. So the whole thing is metal. This might be plastic. But the rest of this is like aluminum. So multiple ways to adjust this. Lock it down for the solar panel. And here is the solar panel. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So basically mount that facing the sun, plug it in. This has a rubber silicone kind of seal, so you can plug it into the back of the camera battery here. And basically that's how you would set it up. So this kind of just slides on here, locks in place. There's like a little retaining.
Camera has been started up. Please run Reolink app, add the camera, and set it up. Please run Reolink app, add the camera, and set it up.
So we'll just go ahead and do that real quick. So I'm going to get the Reolink app on my phone. So I'm setting this up on my Samsung S20 Ultra. I just searched for Reolink in the Google Play Store. So basically that's pretty quick to set up. You just have to enter an email address, make a password, and get a verification link, which you can click on your email, and then you go ahead and do that. So I'm going to add the device. So scan the QR code on the device. So there's a QR code on the back of this thing. So I scan the QR code. It says Wi-Fi not configured. So I can, yes, next.
Please run Reolink app, add the camera, and set it up.
So it's got my wireless SSID. Just enter the password. So basically once you set your wireless SSID and the password in the app, it wants to take a picture of the QR code that your camera's gonna, or that your phone is gonna set up. So I'm gonna click scan now. That shows us QR code. So now I need to point this QR code at it.
Scan succeeded. Camera is connecting to your router. Please wait. Connection to the router succeeded. Welcome to Reolink.
So that was pretty simple. So I guess it's asking for a login password for the device if I want to do that. So it wants me to name my camera. I'm going to put this in my backyard. So I'm going to call that backyard. So then it says initialization finished, and it gives you a little bit of notes on the motion sensor. So Obviously, this does not run 24 hours a day. The way that this works is it's based on motion. So when the camera senses motion, it starts recording, uses alerts and all of that. So you don't want to put it in a place where it's going to be triggered constantly, because then you're just going to waste your battery and it's not going to be very useful. So basically here it says don't point at frequently moving objects. So if there's cars on the street, probably don't want them, if they're within 50 feet, to be constantly causing the motion sensing to kick off. Or maybe you do want that, I don't know. Don't point it at strong light that might change often. Obviously avoid strong signal interference. So if you have Wi-Fi signal, make sure you have a good signal where you're going to place this. Keep it away from heat sources and don't point it at a mirror. So, okie doke. And now, as you can see, it shows up in the app, and then you can kind of watch the live preview, as you can see there. Basically says also there's no SD card detected. I need to add an SD card so that it can do local recording. But that's basically it for the setup. So pretty simple. As a reminder, you basically use the app, set up your Wi-Fi in the app, scan the QR code that's presented in the app to the camera so it can kind of read that Wi-Fi configuration, connects to your Wi-Fi network, and then you're all kind of synced up. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and set that up outside, let it do some recording, test it out a little bit, and then I'll jump over to the computer, I'll do a screen recording of the app here, we'll run through some of the functions, and then I'll give some of my first thoughts, impressions, etc. at that point. So let's hop over to the computer and finish up the review. Hey everybody, so what I did so far is I put the camera in my backyard, kind of on my deck. I set it up, I just put it on the railing. This time I used a piece of watermelon there. I don't know if I'm going to catch any birds or anything coming to take a bite out of the watermelon, but the goal was and is to try to catch something there. So using the motion sensing capability in the camera to do some recording. But you'll see, so it says backyard. This is the alarm for the motion sensor, a little icon there. It shows the battery level and it shows a little sun icon because I did plug in the solar panel, so it is charging now. And there is some direct sunlight in right there, so it is definitely charging. So you can connect to the camera. As you can see here, it's connecting, loading the stream. And you can see a little bit over to the right, there's the solar panel, there's a piece of watermelon, and the camera is just sitting here on this railing. Now it's super sunny, so you can see there's some kind of like bright highlights on this wood, but it's very reflective and the sun is just kind of like right above. It's around a little before noon where I'm at right now. But long story short, you can see that. So if you look at this up in the upper left, you'll see that it's around 200 kilobits a second of streaming, and the quality in the actual view here is kind of not so great. So you can change that to, they call it fluent, what basically means like a low streaming bit rate. So you can switch that to 1080p and then you can get a little bit better of a picture, right? So you'll see everything kind of gets more crisp and you can see the picture a little bit better in a preview mode. And then you're talking about, 1500, 1600 kilobits a second. So, 1.5 megabytes a second or whatever. The one weird thing about that though is when I do that, it does complain about poor network quality, which is kind of interesting because this thing is right, like my router is not too far from that on the inside of the house. So I don't know why it's complaining about that. So just one thing to note there. I would think it would have a pretty decent Wi-Fi signal because I have some other cameras that I've tested out here before and haven't had a problem. In any case, right, so you can switch between a lower bitrate streaming and the higher bitrate streaming, and then you can record here. So if you click this and you want to start recording, it will just start recording to the SD card. So you can stop that, and then you'll see the recording kind of in this gallery below. You can take a screenshot as well. See that? Turn on and listen to the microphone. Turn that off. You can actually pause the live preview. You can resume the live preview. And that's basically all you can do here. You can also obviously flip it around and view it in full screen mode. And again, that probably looks better if we do it in 1080p. Yeah, I mean, that is pretty decent. Again, aside from the kind of these super high specular highlights of the sun blaring down here, I think it does a pretty good job of, the exposure overall. Again, I get this network quality warning, so we can switch that back, and I'll minimize it. So if we go into the settings, you can see backyard Argus 2. It does show the network as being potentially not really strong there. It's only got 2 bars, which again, I'm not really sure why. Should have better connectivity there. But you can see the battery, it's at 69% in charging because I do have the solar panel installed. You can look at the display, you can rotate it, you can change some of these different settings. So if you wanted to actually say the fluent, so the resolution that on the low is 640 by 360, so you can change some of those as well, right? So you can change the bit rate, you can change the frame rate, and do whatever you want for that. But out of the box, that's what it's set to. And the same thing with clear quality. If you don't want 1080p, you can do 720. You can slow down the frame rate if you want. You can increase the max bit rate if you want, or lower that. So you have full control kind of over those quality aspects of the camera, which is nice. There's anti-flicker, so 60 hertz or 50 hertz or auto. Day and night mode, you can switch if it's black and white or color, or just do auto, which will change depending on whether it sees enough light and all of that. You can have the camera name show up, or you can hide it. So on the actual recording, you can see here it says backyard. At the top, it has the time stamp and all that. You can turn those off, or you can move the locations around. You can also block out part of it if you would like from privacy sort of thing. So if I wanted to mask off something that had my address or some other thing, from the video, I can do that with this privacy mask, which is kind of interesting. I haven't seen that on any other cameras. Maybe I just don't know about it, but I haven't done that. So motion sensor, you can set a schedule. So if you don't want to trigger motion all the time, you can set that to be disabled during certain portions of time. Maybe you only care about motion sensing at night. You can set that up that way. Sensitivity, set to very sensitive or insensitive. And then you can also turn on this reduce false alarms if you're getting too many false alarms. You can turn push notifications on so you can get alerts in the app. You can set up email alerts as well. It has a siren, like I said, when motion is detected, which I don't think I would want to do, but you can do that, because if it's goes off all the time, that's going to be an annoyance, I would think. I did test the siren. It's pretty loud. You can share the camera. If somebody else has the app, you can give them this QR code, and then you can set, some advanced settings around the password of the device, if you want to record audio with it or not. The infrared lights, turn that on auto or turn them on or stay off if you don't want them on. Turn on and off the LED on the actual camera so people won't see the little LED on the front. So there's lots of settings here. Also just a bunch of network information and device information and firmware information. Basically it for the settings for the camera. So out of the box, pretty simple to set up. You can change the UI a little bit here if you want channel selection. So if you have multiple cameras, you can kind of so you have a couple options there to change things around. You can talk, you can look at playback and see the events on a timeline and play them back. So you also have the ability to set up a smart home kind of integration. So that's using like Google Assistant. You can learn more about it. So if you have Google Home, you can add Reolink cameras to that and Chromecast to your TV or all that sort of thing. Now, I do not have Google Home set up, so I'm not going to actually go through this whole configuration because I'm just really not able to do it. And for me, like the most important thing is just really the app itself. But it is cool to know that you have some ability to kind of enable some integration with some other things like Google Home. You can also subscribe to the Reolink cloud and basically have some ability to store your events in the cloud and not just have them locally on the SD card of the camera. And they do have a basic monthly plan, which is free. So you have 7-day video history for one camera, up to 1 GB of storage. So that's pretty nice if you just have a camera and you want to kind of play around with it and just have some ability to have cloud storage. You then can have additional cameras on a different plan, so you'll get up to 30 days of history, up to 5 cameras and 30 gigs of storage, and you can do that like on a monthly basis or a yearly basis. And then you can, I mean, obviously there's up to 10 cameras, up to 30 cameras. You can kind of go crazy there. But the basic plan is kind of cool. I'm going to probably test that out a little bit as well and see how that works here a bit later. Yeah, but at this point, what I'm going to do is just let this kind of run a little bit, kind of see if I can capture anything, test that out a little bit more, and then I'll come back and continue the review once I have a little bit more testing under my belt. So here I'm just going to let a little bit of footage play, and I move the camera a few different times so you can see a little bit of different angles in the day, and then some events triggered by the UPS guy and some other stuff, and then a little bit of a night footage as well. So I'm going to wrap this up pretty quick here. I didn't realize this video was going to take 20 minutes of your time. And I really, if you're watching it now, I'm surprised that you actually made it this far. But I really do like this camera. It's pretty cool. It's definitely a great option if you have to have something truly wireless and you don't want to deal with running power or dealing with charging the battery all the time. The solar panel makes it pretty painless and a really great option for powering a camera outdoors. And really, I don't really have anything bad to say. I really think it performed well. The app is good. As you can see in some of the video that I did record, it does do a good job recording video, gets the sound and all of that, and the events trigger and the motion seem to work. There's a couple times towards the end of those videos where the motion was triggered, one by the guy, UPS person dropping off some packages, and it caught that. So all in all, I really do like this, and I'm looking forward to doing a little bit more testing in the future once I find a permanent setup or permanent location to put it. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, go ahead and post those below. Please consider subscribing, giving this video a thumbs up. This is Andrew from TS for Tech. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.